Today guys, we're going to be going over the top 5 supercars to race with. I test them all out on this awesome track that I downloaded in GTA 5, and I have handpicked the 5 best ones. I was going to make it a top 10 list, but you guys really don't need to know 10, you really only need 5. So with that said, I hope you enjoy, and let's jump into it with the very first car being the Trojan Emirates. And by the way, this is in no particular order, these are just the 5 best cars that I'd recommend purchasing. So if you wanted to grab the Trojan Emirates, you could purchase it for $2.75 million with a top speed of 127 miles per hour, and don't forget that is on a flat surface. It's also rear-wheel drive, which will make you think it would fishtail a lot, but it really doesn't. The only issue that I ever see with this car is the fact that when going around turns, you do have to slow down a little bit more than some other cars. And when I mean turns, I mean these incredibly sharp turns that you guys see on screen. They may not seem too sharp to you when you're watching the video, but I challenge you guys to actually race on this track. If you have a PC and you want to download it, I will leave the mod link down below in the description, because it's honestly a bunch of fun and you could really test out the performance of any vehicle in GTA Online. But the Emirates is definitely one of the best supercars to race with. Like I said though, the only issue is that it costs a lot of money. So if you don't have the money, save it up or just wait till it goes on sale. Next up, we have the Kreiger, or the Kreiger. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it'll cost you $2.8 million to purchase, and it has a top speed of 127 miles per hour, just like the Trojan Emirates. But this car has an all-wheel drive drivetrain, which is very beneficial, especially on this track I was driving on. Going around wide turns and pretty much any stretch of road, I felt like I had a whole lot more control of the car, but when it came to going around those sharp turns, it definitely did not perform as well as the Emirates. Now don't get me wrong, it didn't perform badly, it's still way better than practically any other supercar in the game. Obviously to correct that, you could just slow down a little bit or take a bit wider of turns. I think the reason why that happens is because the Kreiger does have a bit of a longer body, I think, and might be a little bit wider. That's why I don't have as much control there, but like I said, on every other road, this thing is awesome. And if you did want to fully max it out, it'll cost you an additional $339,000. So just over $3 million to get this vehicle to peak performance and of course aesthetically pleasing to the person that's buying it. It is still an awesome car. I do use it from time to time, but like I said, the Emirates is my go-to, but the Kreiger is a very, very close second, but I have to say, they're both pretty damn even. Next up is the new LM87, which is a bit more expensive than the Kreiger, costing $2,915,000, but it also has a higher top speed of 128 miles per hour. This vehicle is rear-wheel drive, and if you did want to fully max it out, it'll cost you about $394,000 extra. So you are spending a fair bit of money on this thing, but one thing I really love about this car is the fact that its downforce is impeccable. It never comes off the road. It handles like an absolute god as well around turns. Obviously, you do need to be careful because it does have a very long body, so you are going to want to take a bit wider turns, but you don't need to slow down as much as you do with the Kreiger or the Emirates. There really isn't anything bad to say about the car in general. Like, I mean, all the cars in this video are actually pretty amazing, and it's hard for me to find something bad about every single one of them, so I just pick, I guess, their worst quality. And really, the only thing I have to say is the fact that it's a very long car, so just be careful going around turns. Next up, we have the Wagner, which you could purchase for $1,535,000 with a top speed of 126 miles per hour, a bit slower than the other cars that we've covered. It's a rear-wheel drive vehicle, and if you wanted to fully max it out, it'll cost you $305,000. Now, this car is literally perfect for somebody who is just getting into racing, and everybody can agree with that. It's very cheap compared to a lot of other cars, and considering the performance that you're actually getting out of it, it's a great deal. And if you can manage to buy this car when it's on sale, of course, that's even better for you. But when it comes to racing, it is literally perfect. I have nothing bad to say about it. And even if you do lose control of it a bit, like this turn right here, I went a little bit too fast around it, and it just corrected itself so easily. So if you're just getting into racing and don't want to put too much money into it yet, the Wagner is probably your best bet, because you are getting literally the best possible deal for a supercar in terms of the performance you get out of it. Next up, we have the S80RR, which you could purchase for $2,575,000 with a top speed of 123 miles per hour, the slowest car on this list. It does have a rear-wheel drive drivetrain, and it'll cost you a total of $329,000 to max out. Now, this car is very similar to the LM87. The only difference is the fact that it is a little bit cheaper, which is obviously a benefit, but its top speed is also lower. But as you guys know, if you are a racer in GTA 5, you've driven cars that have top speeds over 130 miles per hour, but they handle like garbage. It's not all about the top speed, it's about how they handle and how you handle them on the track. This car is perfect for that. And in my opinion, I have to say, its handling is a bit better than the LM87. Both of these cars stick to the road and literally never come off of it, which is perfect, but its handling is so impeccable. I just love the way it drives around every single one of these curves. Once again, the LM87 and this car are both amazing if you're on a track that is very twisty and turny. So I'd highly recommend purchasing at least one of these two cars in case you go into a race where there's a bunch of turns. Trust me, you will benefit from it a lot. You're probably wondering why I didn't include vehicles like the Cyclone 2, or the Virtue. The reason why is because they are electric cars, and they're really not perfect for a bunch of races. Specifically, any race that has a lot of jumps, or even a couple of jumps, and then other races that have a lot of downhill slopes. The reason why is because these electric cars have set top speeds, so you'll be going downhill at 130 miles an hour. Everybody else, though, since they are using combustion engine vehicles, will be going way faster, probably over 160 miles per hour on certain races like Plummet and Plummet 2, and a bunch of other ones, of course. So that's why I don't include electric cars in this, because they're really just not beneficial, specifically in stunt races. But if you're not going to be doing stunt races, then maybe purchase something like the Cyclone, because its acceleration is amazing. The Virtue is pretty good, but honestly, its handling is not the best. So that's really why I don't add any electric cars to this list. But anyways, that is going to wrap the video up for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see another episode of this with another classic cars, let me know down below in the comments section. But with that said, I will catch you guys in the next one.